Adam Bandt has begun that media conference.
A motion calling on the government to set a firm date to bring our troops home from Afghanistan. The recent events are tragic, but are increasingly being seen as an inevitable consequence of having an occupying force in a country that increasingly does not enjoy popular support. The Australian people believe that we should bring our troops home, and the Greens believe that we should bring our troops home. And so I'll be moving a motion calling on the government to set a firm date for troops to be brought home, and we believe that it should be done safely and in a timetable set by the Defence Forces in conjunction with the government, so that it can be done safely, but it needs to be done soon.
Aren't you satisfied with the 2014 drawdown that seems to be flagged?
Well, at the moment we've got an indication of a date, but no firm date when troops will be brought home out of harm's way, and we need a firm date. Other countries have already decided to bring their troops home and have done it, and it's time for us to do the same.
The Prime Minister says that the community is going to need some explanation following this recent attack. Do you agree with what she says, and do you think setting a firm date will appease the community when it comes to our involvement in Afghanistan? Well, the Australian public is increasingly asking why we're there in the first place. Now, I note that Bob Carr has said that one of the reasons we're there is to protect women. Well, I think that when it comes to protection of women in Afghanistan and protection of our troops' safety, that Bob Carr's reasoning is dangerously simplistic. Only last week, the Karzai government in Afghanistan gave its approval to guidelines that said that women are subordinate to men, that men are able to beat women if there's a religious justification, and that there should be greater segregation of men and women in travel and in education. Now, this happened last week, and this is the government in Afghanistan that Bob Carr wants us to put our troops in harm's way to defend. The Karzai government in Afghanistan is in the process of dealing with the Taliban and making greater concessions to them that are going to come at the expense of women. And I just do not believe that we should be putting our troops in harm's way to defend a government that believes that women are second-class citizens and that is in the process of eroding women's rights. If we are serious about promoting the rights of women in Afghanistan, we would give greater support to civil society organisations in Afghanistan. We would give greater support to those women's organisations that are organising for freedom in Afghanistan. We would not be putting our troops in harm's way to prop up a government that is in the process of removing women's rights in Afghanistan.
Adam, what about the argument that at the moment everything's fairly dangerously poised, that the Afghan army's half-trained and the police are half-trained, that we're putting a lot of effort into improving governance and standards there? Do you believe that we should wait till the job's actually complete, the training job, or is it not going to happen?
Well, I think the continued presence of occupying forces in the country is destabilising the country. And you just think about how long this war has been going on. There are now kids and teenagers who have grown up with an almost permanent presence of occupying forces in their country, and increasingly they see us as the enemy, and what's happened over recent days is only going to exacerbate that. And so it's actually our presence there that's doing as much to contribute to instability as anything.
And are you satisfied with the lines that you're getting from the government? Are you getting comprehensive briefings on progress of the war? Have you asked if you could go there, or would you be keen to go there?
Well, look, I think others in our party room might be having something to say about that in the next little while, but I think the government has been very clear about its justifications for keeping troops there, and it's basically because the United States has asked us to. We are not making an independent decision as a mature democracy about whether we should be putting our troops in harm's way, and it's that we need to do.
So just back on that other issue, so does that mean that one of the Greens is considering going to Afghanistan on a visit?
I'll let you. I'll let others speak for themselves about that.
Are you worried that withdrawing troops is going to cause a bit of a funding drain for Afghanistan, and therefore these projects, as you said, like community projects that will help the betterment of women and things like that, that's not going to be achieved because countries are no longer going to have troops there?
Look, I think that we could, and we've been arguing for this as the Greens for a while, increase our aid budget to Afghanistan and to other countries in the region to help those organisations that are and have been arguing for some time for equal rights, for greater education, for women, for greater healthcare and so on. That's where we should be putting our efforts. We should be putting our efforts by redirecting funding to that. That is going to have a greater lasting benefit to Afghan civil society compared with a military occupation.
So just on another issue, Barnaby Joyce and Albie Schultz's intervention in the Gina Reinhardt affair, are you concerned by that, and do you think that maybe it should be referred to the Privileges Committee?
Look, I think that billionaires have an incredible sway in Australian politics, and we're learning day by day just how close some of these billionaires are to those in the coalition in particular. I think there is a real issue about the deep connections that exist between billionaires and politicians. I think it's something that is worthy of examination in the public sphere.
Okay, believe that there. That was the Greens MP Adam Bandt live from Parliament House in Canberra. The Greens are saying there's no firm date set for Australian troops coming home from Afghanistan. Adam Bandt says he'll be moving a motion in Parliament calling for just that. The government has previously said Australian troops will be pulled out in 2014, but there may be a need for Australian involvement, some sort of Australian involvement beyond then. Now to some news just in, and ABC